Uh, Brandon, what is the latest on John Means returning to the club? We saw the unfortunate posting earlier today.
Yeah, we are. I was texting with him a little bit today. Still a little bit unclear on when he's going to return. Obviously, we're going to give him the time he needs to be with his family, and we'll just be communicating with him here these next few days. But our hearts are heavy for him and his family and what they're going through. So we're going to give him the time he needs.
Do you have a starter for Sunday?
We do not as of right now. We're going to kind of wait to see how today goes and then make some decisions probably sometime tomorrow.
Dan Connolly.
Hey, Brandon, there seems to be kind of a differing thought on whether a young player can be rushed to the majors, whether it's a situation where, if a young guy doesn't do well, it could adversely affect the rest of his career. There's a former Orioles manager who used to play the game who basically said that if that destroys his confidence early, then he was never mentally strong enough to play in the majors anyway. Kind of want to get your take on it. I mean, can you rush a guy and really hurt his career, or do you think that, those guys have to be mentally tough regardless? And what's your take in the middle of that?
It's definitely delicate. I mean, I've seen it both ways. I have seen guys get rushed and takes them a while to recover from that. But I've also seen guys get rushed, stumble, go back down, and then have very productive major league careers. I'm thinking of my, recent examples. I've had Javi Baez in 14, he punched out 50% of his at-bats, didn't make the team in 15. And when he went down, there was a lot of reasons why we sent him down, and he took it upon himself to get back up. And now he's an all-star, one of the superstar players in the National League, and hasn't looked back. So I think that there's, I think mental toughness, such a broad word for me, but I think everybody's different and everybody has different experiences. And this game is not easy at this level, especially for young players. And I think guys are ready at different stages of their career. And sometimes you don't know that until they get here. And so with some guys, you want to be conservative. Some guys, you might think they're ready. But I don't think you ever know that they're truly ready until they're playing here at the major league level. And so a lot goes into calling a young player up, a lot of conversations, a lot goes into it. And you want to make the right decision on that, but you're not always right, and you never really truly know. And it's up to the player is going to let you know if they're ready for this level or not. But like I said, I have seen it work both ways, where guys have come up here and struggled and gone back down and rebounded and had great careers. And then I've seen some elite prospects that you thought were going to fly through, get to the big leagues and never look back, and it just never happened, never worked out for them. So it's definitely a crapshoot. This is not easy here, and I think you just make the best decision you possibly can, factoring in a lot of things about them mentally, what you think their mental makeup is, if they're ready physically. There's just a lot to handle here at the major league level.
Back to Rich.
Quick one, Brandon. Is with an off day on Monday, is a bullpen game an option for Sunday?
It is an option. Yep.
John Mioli.
Brandon, with a couple of guys over the last week or so, you've mentioned, guys might be pressing a little more than they should. Do you think the shortened nature of the season and looking up on the board and knowing there's not, a ton more baseball to be played is making that problem worse for some people?
I think that that's a possibility. I think that knowing that, they're getting an opportunity here, it could be a short one because the season's not very long. They're trying to do the best they can to get off to a great start. I think that that's very, very normal. And when you don't get off to the start that you want, you start to realize that we only have 40-something more games to go. And I would like to get my numbers up. So I think that, yeah, I think that it's definitely different this year from trying to get off to a good start, just because you're not going to have the 500 at bats or the amount of innings that you could have during a season to help catch up. If a reliever right now has a bad inning, it's tough for the season, just because they're not going to accumulate the innings to get their numbers back down. So I think that, yeah, I think that there is more pressure this year.
Dan Connolly.
Yeah, Brandon, back to the prospect rushing thing real quick. When you said there's a lot of different factors and it's obviously very individual, but do you see like one factor that might be a tiebreaker? I know in 12 with the Orioles, Manny Machado wasn't killing it offensively, but it was his defense they felt like was enough to play in the majors, so therefore they brought him up, and obviously his bat came along.
Yeah.
Is there one where you look at and say, okay, I would lean to this guy because of a certain thing, but not to this guy because of that same certain thing?
I just think you want to look at the entire package and see if they can handle it. So see if they can handle it emotionally. You're doing your best guess at seeing if they can handle it mentally, as well as physically. I mean, playing, if you're a hitter and you're facing the starting pitching that we face and you're facing the bullpens that we face, is this guy going to be able to, one, handle major league stuff? And is he going to are we able to give him the at-bats necessary to give him an opportunity to be consistent? I don't know what Manny's case was. Obviously the defense, I'm sure at that time, I didn't see him play back then, so I'm sure it was elite. And they probably figured this kid is so special and so talented and so tooled up that he is going to figure it out. And we believe in his mental makeup. I'm guessing, but I think that's stuff that it goes through your thought process. But like I said, it's so individual. I think you're going to treat a high school kid different than a college kid. You're going to, just because you have more to go back, you know them a little bit better because they've had a college experience and they've gotten at bats against, if it's an SEC type player, they've gotten at bats against premier pitching Friday and Saturday nights for 3 years. So I think that there's just a lot of different factors and it is very individual.
Steve Molesky.
Brandon, even though you like Sevy a lot, was it challenging to not get Cisco back in there tonight? I know you talked after the game last night. How you feel he's swinging it pretty well right now? Yeah,
he's going to get a lot of playing time. I like the way both those guys are swinging the bat. Love to play both of them. But yeah, I think that Chance is going to play a lot, just like Sevy's going to play a lot. And I'm going to try to share at bats as much as I possibly can. Use the DH like I have with Sevy a little bit. Probably do that a little bit more with Chance. But I think that, yeah, I just love to see them both in the lineup. And Chance, that's another nice thing to have three catchers is I can pick a spot for Chance to come off the bench in a spot where I think that is a good matchup for him and pick and choose, kind of like I've done with Sevy the last few games he hasn't played.
Paul Mancano.
Hey, Brandon, kind of following up on Steve's question with Severino and Cisco, do you see much of a difference in their defensive skill sets, or do you kind of have them on the same level right now as to where they're playing?
I have. I thought Chance caught really well last night also, and I should have said that after the game. I thought he won. Thought he did a really nice job behind the plate. I think both of our guys are still in the development mode. They're still really growing as a catcher. Catchers takes a while. There's so much to process, and there's so much to not only do you have to hold your own offensively or try to hold your own offensively, but you're in more meetings than anybody else. You have the wristband on. You're working with pitchers. There's a lot of mental, stuff that goes on throughout the game that you are constantly dealing with, and sometimes the development of catchers takes a little longer. I've been really impressed. Both those guys have gotten better in every way since last year, and then I love the work that they're doing that you guys don't see the work they're putting on in the clubhouse and the work that they're putting in on the field and in the cage prior to batting practice and prior to the game. They're really working their tails off, and it's Brian Holiday it's nice to have him too, to be honest with you, because it's a guy that's been around, and it's a guy that's caught some really, really good pitchers. And to have him there as a guy that they can bounce ideas off of, it's a nice trio right now, and it's working out well.
Trezza?
Brandon, with Eshelman and Holiday on the active roster now, did you guys add anybody to the taxi squad for these road games?
Well, the taxi squad is really meant for when you travel. And so since we're 45 minutes away, and if we do need to have a transaction or get somebody here, it's just an easy call to have them come over. So we didn't need to do a taxi squad for the National Series.